Aging is usually discussed in terms of physical health. People talk about medications, doctor visits, diet, or exercise. But there is another part of healthy aging that is often ignored completely: conversation. Simple, regular, meaningful human conversation. Not television playing in the background, not scrolling through a phone, not short practical exchanges like, did you take your medicine? Do you need groceries? Real conversation. Talking about memories, emotions, ideas, stories, and everyday life. And when seniors slowly stop having these conversations, something begins to change. Emotionally, mentally, and sometimes even physically. Usually it happens quietly. A person becomes a little less talkative. Days become more repetitive. The outside world becomes smaller. There are fewer reasons to share thoughts, fewer moments of emotional connection, fewer opportunities to feel mentally engaged. And over time, many seniors begin to feel disconnected, not only from people, but from life itself. The difficult part is that families often don't notice it immediately. Loneliness rarely looks dramatic in the beginning. Sometimes it simply looks like low energy, sleeping more, less motivation, watching television all day, or saying, "I'm fine," during short phone calls. But inside, many older adults experience something much deeper: a growing sense of invisibility. Human beings are social creatures for their entire lives. The brain is built for interaction. Conversation activates memory, attention, emotional processing, language, storytelling, and reflection, all at once. When seniors regularly talk with someone, the mind stays active in ways that are incredibly important for emotional and cognitive well-being. But modern life unintentionally creates the perfect conditions for isolation. Children move abroad. Families become busy. Friends pass away. Mobility decreases. Technology becomes difficult. Retirement removes daily structure. And suddenly, entire days can pass without a meaningful conversation. Over time, silence changes people. Research increasingly connects chronic loneliness and social isolation with higher stress levels, anxiety, depression, sleep problems, and faster cognitive decline. But there is another effect people rarely talk about. When nobody regularly asks about your thoughts, experiences, or memories, you slowly begin to feel that your inner world no longer matters. And this is why meaningful conversation is so important. Not because seniors simply need entertainment, but because human connection helps maintain identity itself. Something powerful happens when someone asks an older person about their childhood, their first love, their hardest years, or the lessons life taught them. Suddenly, they are no longer simply an elderly person. They become a storyteller, a mentor, a historian, a teacher. That psychological shift matters enormously. One of the most painful feelings many seniors experience is the feeling of becoming unnecessary, feeling like society moved on without them. But meaningful conversations restore significance. They remind a person that their experiences still have value, that their memories matter, and that someone genuinely wants to listen. Even short daily conversations can create visible improvements surprisingly quickly. A simple morning call can help create structure and motivation for the day. Questions like, "What are your plans today?" or "What would make today a good day?" may sound small, but they create emotional engagement and routine. Evening conversations can be equally powerful. Reflecting on positive moments, emotions, memories, or gratitude often reduces emotional tension and creates a calmer state before sleep. Families frequently notice that their parent suddenly sounds more energetic, more emotionally alive, more optimistic, and more mentally engaged. Sometimes the difference appears faster than people expect, because isolation itself is emotionally exhausting. The long-term effects may be even more important. Regular conversation helps maintain memory recall, language fluency, social confidence, emotional resilience, and cognitive stimulation, especially when conversations involve storytelling or learning new things. This is why projects like biography interviews or family memory archives can become so meaningful. They are not just conversations. They preserve identity and family history. Imagine recording a parent talking about childhood memories, old family traditions, historical events they lived through, or the lessons they learned throughout life. One day, those recordings and stories become priceless for families, and many adult children later realize, painfully, that they never asked those questions while they still had the chance. Intergenerational conversations are especially powerful because they transform the role of the senior. Instead of feeling like someone receiving help, they become someone sharing wisdom and experience. That sense of purpose can dramatically improve emotional well-being. Technology can also become part of the solution. Many older adults are now learning how to use video calls, social media, YouTube, and even AI tools, not because they want to become technology experts, but because they want to remain connected to the modern world and the people they love. And connection is really the key word here, because one of the greatest hidden dangers of aging is not simply illness, it is disconnection. Disconnection from people, from purpose, from conversation, from emotional engagement with life. Sometimes one meaningful conversation can completely change the emotional direction of someone's day. A person who felt invisible suddenly feels heard. A person who felt isolated suddenly feels connected. A person who felt forgotten suddenly feels important again. That is the real power of conversation. Not just exchanging words, but reminding another human being that they still matter.